Call to order Board of Zoning Appeals for February 10th, 2025. First item on the agenda is approval of the minutes from January 27th, 2025.
Chairman, I recommend we approve the minutes from January 27th, 2025.
Motion by Mr. Peters, second by Mr. Milborn. All those in favor, raise a hand. All opposed, same sign. That motion carries 5-0. Any special requests or continuances?
None.
Seeing none, we'll move on to findings of fact. We have 4 of them. First up is BZA 2024-054, Development Standards Variance for petitioner Bill Blocker on behalf of Blue Escapes Pools for property at 491 West Main Street.
Chairman, in consideration of statutory criteria, I move that we adopt the written findings of fact as presented, incorporating the evidence submitted into the record as our final decision and final action for variance petition number BZA 2024-054.
Motion by Mr. Peters, second by Mr. Moll. All those in favor, raise a hand. All opposed, same sign. That motion carries 5-0. BZA 2024-055, a development standards variance for petitioner Joseph Latimer on behalf of Chick-fil-A, property at northwest corner of I-65 and East Main Street.
In consideration of the statutory criteria, I move that we adopt the written findings of fact as presented, incorporating the evidence submitted into the record as our final decision and final action for variance petition number BZA 2024-055. Or wait,
Yes.
Yes.
yeah, that's right.
But it's
I see it on- I have it on my-
it's only
Findings
That's
of
only
fact.
the
it's only 1, 2, and 3, right?
Right.
first.
1, 3, 2, 4.
55.
1, 2, and 4.
1, 2, and 4. 1, 2, and 4.
Okay, this one says request 1. Okay, that's what I was confused for a second. Is that
Here's 1, 2, and 4.
from 1, 2, and 4?
1, 2, and 4. A motion by Mr. Moll,
Second.
second by Mr. Peters. All those in favor, raise a hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion passed 4-0 with 1 abstention by Mr. King. BZA 2024-057, Development Standards Variance petitioner Harley Miles on behalf of Rotman Collier Architects for property located at 1251 US 31 North.
Chairman, go ahead.
I'll do this one. In consideration of statutory criteria, I move that we adopt the written findings of fact as presented, incorporating the evidence submitted into the record as our final decision and final action for variance petition number BZA 2024-057.
Motion by Mr. King, second by Mr. Milborn. All those in favor, raise a hand. All opposed, same sign. That motion carries 5-0. And then BZA 2024-058, Development Standards Variance for petitioner Michelle Affronti on behalf of Amarok for property at 2157 Stacy's Way.
Chairman, in consideration of statutory criteria, I move that we adopt the written findings of fact as presented, incorporating the evidence submitted into the record as our final decision and final action for variance petition number BCA 2024-058.
Motion by Mr. Peters, second by Mr. Moll. All those in favor, raise a hand. All opposed, same sign. That motion carries 5-0. We have old business, which is BZA 2024-055, Development Standards Variance for the northwest corner of I-65 and East Main Street. Petitioner Joseph Latimer on behalf of Chick-fil-A for now 1 section of the Unified Development Ordinance, which is to waive the requirement for a bypass lane whereby vehicles may circulate around the structure separate from the drive-through lanes. There is no open public hearing on this tonight. Mr. King, you have seen and read the evidence. And so my understanding is we move straight to a motion.
Correct. The petitioner is here. If you guys have any questions for the petitioner, that is still appropriate, even though the public hearing has been closed. It would take a unanimous vote if the public hearing was to be reopened. But you have closed the public hearing, and now it is time for you guys to discuss as a board and come to a decision.
Okay. Does anyone have questions?
Nope.
Mr. King, anything from your standpoint?
Having read it, I do think that there's problems with that this will not be injurious. I think it will. I think this bypass lane is necessary. I look at the other Chick-fil-A in the city, and traffic is a problem there, and this is going to have a problem. So I don't see where we can say that all of the criteria met, especially with number 1.
Okay. Then, since there's no actual questions, I will take a motion.
Chairman, I motion that we deny the request for a bypass lane. That's it.
Okay, have a-
Do we have to adopt?
Not yet.
Findings of fact. You guys done that first.
We had
well,
done that already. Did we do it
we'll
again?
have to do it again. but We
Okay.
have to we have to vote on this first before that would become.
He's talking about the
This one.
evidence and direct, we already did that.
Oh, that's already done. Sorry.
Evidence
Yes,
is right.
evidence is already.
Good
done.
question. Sorry, I thought you were asking
No.
about the next things. Have a motion to deny by Mr.
Second.
King.
Oh, I don't-
By me,
Oh, second by Mr. Sorry, I got.
No, I motioned, he seconded.
Motion by Ms. Peters to deny, second by Mr. King. All those in favor of the denial, raise a hand. All opposed, same sign. That motion carries 4-0 as a denial.
It's 4-1.
4-1.
What did I say?
4-0.
They've got me all messed up. That motion carries 4-1 for the denial. What is next then for a petitioner with that? Do they have any?
The petitioner will have to relook at their site plan, see if they can accommodate the drive-through lane. And
Resubmit.
resubmit with something that meets the ordinance, or if this is a deal breaker, find a site that will be compatible with the drive-through lane.
Thank you.
Now we go to the written findings.
Oh, now we will go to motion to draft written findings of fact.
Chairman, having considered the statutory criteria, I move that you redirect the Corporation Counsel's Office to draft written findings of fact regarding your decision on the variance request presented in variance petition number BZA 2024-055. Said findings to specifically incorporate the staff report and evidence submitted into the record for consideration and adoption by the Board of Zoning Appeals as a final decision and final action regarding this petition at our next meeting.
Motion by Ms. Peters, second by Mr. Milborn. All those in favor, raise a hand. All opposed, that motion carries 5-0. The old business from the floor. Seeing none, we'll move on to new business. First up is BZA 2024-059. This is a development standards variance for 5983 North State Road 135. The petitioner is Chad Mays on behalf of Kinley Horn and Associates, requesting relief from 3 sections of the Unified Development Ordinance. Number 1, to reduce the minimum mortar masonry on the front or west facade from 50% to 38%. Number 2, to reduce the minimum required transparency on the front or east facade from 30% to 8%. And number 3, to allow exterior materials other than the predominant front facade material on the side and rear facades. All those wishing to present or speak to this here in person, please stand and be sworn in by our secretary.
Do you swear to the perjury, testimony to the best of your knowledge? Thank you.
And is there anyone online wishing to speak to this?
Yes,
Okay, is that Ms. Ferguson?
that's correct.
And do you have video capability?
I do not.
Then unfortunately, I cannot get her sworn in, correct? So, yeah, Ms. Ferguson, if I can't have visual, I can't get you legally sworn in to testify.
Understood. Thank you.
Okay. The name and address for the record.
Yeah, good evening. My name is Chad Mays. I'm with Kinley Horn Associates, located at 500 East 96th Street, Suite 300 in Indianapolis.
Okay, and then before we move on, I forgot to ask if everything is in order for this one.
All the files and notices are in order and in our documents. Submit a copy of the Unified Development Ordinance and the copy of the comprehensive plan for the record.
All right. Okay. All right, tell us why you're here.
Yep, I'm here on behalf of Chase Bank Smoky Road Project Team. Kate Coliander with Chase is here. As you heard, Amy Ferguson's online. She's the architect for the project. So we're here to request 3 variances to the ordinance.
And I guess as we go forward here, you've submitted to the staff report your detailed statement of reasons addressing the criteria.
That is correct.
And is that detailed statement of reasons, it is contained within the staff report, you answered that. Are you asking that we enter the staff report into evidence and consider those answers when making our decision on the variance request?
That is correct.
And then, and then I guess anything else you have to add on your behalf?
Yeah, Megan, I'll present the location of the project, just so everybody's aware, if you're not already, is southeast corner of 135 and Smoky Road. It's a undeveloped commercial outlot for the Kroger master development. There to the south of the undeveloped parcel, which is being split as part of this project, is that Burger King, the orientation in the world. As mentioned, it's a Chase Bank on 0.89 acres. It's commercially zoned. It'll be a 3,410 square foot bank with 28 parking spaces. So here's the layout. The site plan, utility plan is what I'll be presenting to you. The north facade faces Smoky Road. The east facade is what I call the back house where utilities enter. That faces the Kroger, the master developed parking lots to the east. The south facade faces the remaining undeveloped parcel and that Burger King. And then the west facade faces 135. So the first request is for the west facade. The request is to be below the 50% masonry requirement. The entry tower is a high quality hard surface fiber cement board that is part of Chase's latest branding and is designed to create a focal point for the entry. You also see the transparent material. That's the conference room in the main entry. So that is the reason for the request. I will note that these are long-lasting, durable materials. The next request is for the east facade. This is considered a front as well. So if you recall me saying it faces the Kroger, and this is what I would call the back of the house where the utilities need to come in. That is the reason for the request to be below the 30% transparency minimum. Here's the elevation. So on this side of the building, there are bank operations that need to be secure. Obviously, there's no transparency that would be requested as part of that. And there's also a janitorial closet there, as well as the utilities coming in that side of the building. The last request is for the south facade. This side is considered a side elevation, and it's intended to be fully clad in the predominant material of the front. The drive-up portion of the building is clad in the same finish as the entry tower, creating a balanced feel that ties in with the entry tower on the opposite end. Also, the entry tower protruding from main mass of the building used to create interest into the facade. It would not be feasible to have masonry at the tower element on the side facing south. Here's the elevation. I would also like to note that the equipment's on this side of the building. And so if you have masonry with this equipment, it could create building envelope issues just because of the tolerances with that. So these are the reasons we're requesting the variance. Here's an excerpt from the staff report, as you guys have already probably digested, but it is recommending approval for all 3 variances. Would like to thank staff for their guidance and all the questions we had. So with that, if you guys have any questions, I'm here to answer them.
We will hold our questions for the moment. Anyone else here that can be sworn in that wishes to speak to this? If not, staff, I'll get your comments.
Well, as you see, staff is in favor of all 3 variances. We run into this quite often when a building has multiple frontages. Buildings just aren't designed to be transparent on all 4 sides, especially a bank, so we're completely in favor of that. Same with the 3rd variance that we see all the time. They just want to keep the side elevation somewhat similar to the rest of the building and being limited to 1 material kind of stifles that. So We are in favor of all three variances with the one condition that the final plan substantially conform to the building elevations in Exhibit D.
Any other comments? Otherwise, I'll close it for the board. Open up to questions, Mr. Mull,
Nope, okay.
Mr. Milborn?
Is this design in cooperation with the other chases around town?
Yes. Yeah, if you recall, there was one reconstructed just up the road north on 135.
That's gonna be my question, so it's gonna look like that one in essence, so.
Mrs. Peters?
I only have one question. I'm trying to figure out where the drive-through section is. I'm not seeing it.
It's,
I see where they walk up to the vape machine.
yeah, the picture does not,
But
the
I
drive
don't
up
see
is on
anything.
the same side as the ATM. Is that correct?
It just
It is
doesn't,
for the
it
ATM.
doesn't show.
The picture doesn't really show the drive up.
I'm just trying
Lane
to
or-
visually figure
there's-
this one out.
So there's like a bump out, if you see here, and then there's a bypass lane to the south of it. It bumps towards the building.
See the little, I think
This is where they go through.
this is, you're actually passing through this, this is the outer wall, is that right? But you probably can't tell.
It
with
looks
that
like a
lighter.
one-dimensional.
It looks one-dimensional, but it's a lighter.
Kind of lighter
shade.
color is actually
Yes.
out
On the south
with a
elevation.
pass through under it.
Yeah, you can barely tell the bump out on the plan here.
Okay, so I was trying to figure out exactly where it was at. I can see where the
Yeah.
I think it's a lighter shade on the
ATM
south
machine is, but I can't see where.
elevation.
It's kind of
It's actually.
that lighter gray
Oh,
as
okay.
well.
You're
I'm
actually,
just trying to
that's
figure
what you're
that
actually
one out.
driving, yeah.
All right. Okay, well, that was what I was just trying to picture in my mind where that was going to be. Okay, got it. No questions.
I had no question. Pretty straightforward, so. All right, I'll take a motion to admit all the evidence in the record.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we admit all evidence presented in regard to this matter, including the notices, receipts, maps, photographs, written documents, petitioner's application and attachments, petitioner's detailed statement of reasons, staff report prepared by the planning department, certified copies of the UDO, comprehensive plan, testimony of the petitioner, city planning staff and any administrators, and all other exhibits presented be they oral or written for consideration by this board in regard to this petition and to include the testimony of those present.
Motion by Mr. Mull, second by Mr. Milborn. All those in favor, raise a hand. All opposed, same sign. That motion carries 5-0. Take a motion on the docket, request number 1, to reduce the minimum ordered masonry on a front west facade from 50% to 38%.
I move that we approve this request with the one condition in the staff report, which is the final plans shall substantially conform to the building elevations depicted in Exhibit D.
Motion by Mr. King to approve with the one condition, second by Mr. Mull. All those in favor, raise a hand. All opposed, same sign. That motion passes 5-0. Number 2, to reduce the minimum required transparency on a front east facade from 30% to 8%.
Move that we approve this request with the same condition.
Motion by Mr. King, second by Mr. Milborn to approve with the same condition. All those in favor, raise a hand. All opposed, same sign. That motion carries 5-0. And then number 3, to allow exterior materials other than the predominant front facade material on the side and rear facades.
Move that we approve this with the same condition.
Second by, motion by Mr. King to approve the same condition, second by Mrs. Peters. All those in favor, raise a hand. All opposed, same sign. That motion carries 5-0. Motion to direct the Corporations Council to draft written findings of fact.
Having considered such statutory criteria, I move that we direct the Corporations Council Office to draft written findings of fact regarding our decision on the variance request presented in variance petition number BZA 2024-059. Said findings specifically incorporate the staff report and the evidence submitted into the record for consideration and adoption by the Board of Zoning Appeals as our final decision and final action regarding the petition at our next meeting.
Motion by Mr. Mull, second by Mrs. Peters. All those in favor, raise a hand. All opposed, same sign. That motion carries 5-0. You are welcome to proceed. So we'll take action in a couple weeks, final action in a couple weeks, but you can just work with that and get going.
All right, thank you all.
Awesome, thank you. Next up, BZA 2024-060. This is the development standards variance for 562 Winding Trail. Petitioners are Janice
Yes,
Fletcher,
yes, Jan here. Yes,
Okay, and you are requesting relief from one section of the unified ordinance, and this is to reduce the side yard accessory setback from 10 feet to 3 feet. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. I spoke with the neighbor that is immediately impacted, and Richard had absolutely no qualms with that.
Okay, so hold on one second, Ms. Fletcher. IT, can you put this video up where bigger where we can actually see?
I'm sorry, who are you speaking to?
IT, we can't see you right now, Ms. Fletcher, so hold on one second. Because I've got to go
Okay,
more in. Are you able to get visual?
I don't know how. I can see it, but I don't know how to make myself visible. I've
Sure.
never done a Zoom call before.
She's just calling in, so she's not on.
Can't swear.
I had no way to swear her in.
Yeah, so,
See your names up there.
yeah, but that doesn't mean.
Are the remaining petitioners all online?
No, I had sent them what the certified mailing and had only gone over and spoken to my immediate next door neighbor to see if he had any problems with it, and he did not. So unless-
Hold on, that's not the question. Hang on one second. Everyone that is online, we have no video of anyone. Are there others wishing to speak to this docket that have no video?
Or the next?
Or any of the dockets for that matter? So legally, Mrs. Fletcher, right, Janice?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
The challenge we have is without being able to see you, we cannot legally swear you in, and therefore I cannot legally take testimony.
Okay, do you have the paperwork in front of you that it's been sent out?
I do
The
have,
notification?
we have the staff report and the paperwork, so,
We need a person.
we need a presenter, right, Mr. Nelson?
Let me see.
The staff is favorable. You have the staff report. If you wish, you don't need someone to present. If you have the evidence before you and you feel comfortable moving forward. If you felt that you needed someone here or needed them to use video, I would recommend continuing it. But if you feel comfortable with your vote and have had similar applications where you've maybe had a pattern of voting a certain way, it's up to you on how you want to proceed.
But we cannot ask questions either, correct? It would be strictly based on what's been submitted from the staff report.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, none of her stuff can be considered as part of your vote and captured in the record.
Just the staff report.
Correct.
So, Ms. Fletcher, if you heard that, you have two options. You can allow us to proceed specifically based on what has been turned in from the staff report with your evidence there, or we can continue this to another meeting where you can either be in person or have a way to get on video.
Why don't we take a look at the evidence? I would be fine with that.
Okay, so I just want to be clear that you are waiving your ability to provide additional testimony beyond the staff report. You wish us to consider your request based specifically on what you turned in.
I really don't have anything, anything else to add that was not in the report. The report just states how it would be moving it substantially into any usable part of the property and that the neighbors are fine with it.
We do.
So I don't.
Yeah, we got to stop. Hang on.
It sounds like she's
You
fine
have-
with you proceeding.
So, yep, I cannot take additional comments without swearing you in. So with that, board, you have read the staff report. You're familiar with it. You've read the statement of reasons. I will ask staff for your input.
Just to start out, we have had all the notices and paperwork. It's been completed on time and filed in our docket. I'd also submit a copy of the Unified Development Ordinance and the comprehensive plan for the record that outlines the ordinance that we're using tonight. The staff report was favorable. This is a small shed that's going to be located behind a 6-foot privacy fence. There is not an easement where this is located, and staff felt that it had minimal impact on the surrounding community. And we also, based on previous recommendations, felt that it would be consistent with the board's voting, and so we were favorable.
With that, I'm going to close the public hearing. And I would, since we cannot ask questions, I will take a motion to admit all the evidence into the record.
I move that we admit all the evidence presented regardless of this matter, including notices, receipts, photographs, maps, written documents, petitioner's application, attachments, petitioner's detailed statement of reasons, the staff report plan prepared by the planning department, certified copies of the UDO and comprehensive plan. Should I skip the parts of testimony of the petitioner since we didn't actually do that? City planning staff, or testimony of the city planning staff and any administrators and all other exhibits, be they oral or written, for consideration by the board in regard to this petition, and to include the testimony of those present this evening.
Motion by Mr. Mole, second by Mr. Milborn. All those in favor raise a hand. All opposed, same sign. That motion carries 5-0. I would take a motion on the request to reduce the side yard accessory setback from 10 feet to 3 feet.
I move that we approve this with no conditions.
Motion to approve with no conditions by Mr. King, second by Mr. Mole. All those in favor raise a hand. All opposed, same sign. That motion carries 5-0.
Thank you.
Motion to direct the corporation's council to draft written findings of fact.
Having considered the statutory criteria, I move that we direct the corporation counsel's office to draft written findings of fact regarding our decision on the variance request presented in variance petition number BZA 2024-060. Said findings specifically incorporate the staff report and evidence submitted into the record and for consideration and adoption by the Board of Zoning Appeals as our final decision, final action regarding petition at our next meeting.
Motion by Mr. Mole, second by Mr. King. All those in favor raise a hand. All opposed, same sign. That motion carries 5-0. You are also free to proceed, Ms. Fletcher. We will take final action in 2 weeks, but you can work with staff to get going. Oh, she's still, well, that's what you're saying. Audio, I don't know. Okay, next up is BZA 2024-061. This is for 650 East Park Avenue. Petitioner is Gregory McCart, requesting relief from 2 sections of the Unified Development Ordinance. Number 1, to reduce side yard accessory setback from 5 feet to 2 feet. And number 2, to allow 2 accessory structures of the same type of shed on a property. Who is wishing to present to this? I assume is online.
I believe he was online, but I also believe he did not have video.
And he dropped.
He may actually be on his way here. He lives like right down the street.
Okay.
So
The numbers not.
Do you want to see if you could email him?
I can't see.
It is a similar variance to the one that we previously had, if that makes any difference on how you'd like to proceed.
Well, I guess without having any kind of acknowledgement from the petitioner, my first inclination is to continue it.
Yeah,
Right, I would not want to deny him
no.
the ability to present.
By some type of additional testimony if he wishes.
She was able to answer to that.
Yeah. Yeah, I would just want an audio confirmation that they're okay with what they submitted.
Would it be okay if we took a quick recess until we figure it out if he's coming back?
Yeah, I mean, I would give it 5. We'd give it 5 minutes.
Sure.
And see if we can either get connected with him or something.
Yeah, you gotta know where.
Steve and I are. We will resume at 6:35.
There's Park Avenue.
It's just down the street here on Main Street, like by Polk, 5th Street.
Yeah.
Park Street, Merrill Park.
Not confusing at all.
Can I guess while we're talking, can I ask a question that
Is
may have
this
been?
the fellow here?
No, that's
I asked a question we may have asked before, but I don't recall if I've asked it specifically this way. Do we notify petitioners of the requirement to have video if they are going to be remote?
Yes.
Okay.
I can
Let they know.
do a
then this-
refresher with staff, but it's, we talk about it extensively, and it's in one of our emails that go out.
I just wonder how much they're paying attention to that.
I believe this gentleman actually said he was going to be in person, so we were surprised to see his
name on the
name on the dial.
I am concerned why there was no identification where they wanted to put this shed. I mean, it looks like there's plenty of space, but then
I saw it.
Yeah, it's in the staff, it's on exhibit C.
I just don't see, that's what I'm asking.
This goes back the other way.
Yeah.
Without being sworn in, couldn't she have just stipulated and said yes, everything?
Without swearing in, you can't stipulate.
Without
anything.
swearing, hold on, that's a legal kind of question. Without being sworn in, she could say, everything I've submitted is what I want without being sworn in, right?
You could
Because
rely only on
she-
that record, yeah.
She's the petitioner, she can say, I stipulate this is what I
Well,
want.
She can't stipulate, because stipulate's a legal term.
But she can,
No.
You have, that you're
without
admitting,
being sworn, she
you're
can
admitting
say.
it in, you're admitting it into because they produced it anyway.
Yeah, so like, she could refuse to be sworn in, but say that I want
I
what's
just
here.
want you to go with what was submitted,
So,
which is
yeah.
basically what we did.
Yeah, so somebody could be even on video and say,
I don't want to be sworn in. Yeah, they could. They just couldn't offer additional testimony.
Where is it?
Or
I
answer
cannot
questions.
find it.
So
it's you're looking at the wrong one.
This is what was presented.
Steve,
Last
yes.
one, not this one.
Oh, I
Not
thought you were
the
talking
last
about the
one.
last one.
Oh,
No,
last
not
one
the
is
last
by the front corner.
Because I could not see anything.
It didn't print, it's right
Okay.
there.
No, there's nothing there.
It's printed. It didn't
Terry gave
print.
me this, that I messed up the on recognition.
Nothing there.
So the Chick-fil-A one,
which one is
we had no motion to amend.
This
So
was
no
the
one
one that
here.
we just did without having.
So this is the other one.
Yeah, I just say, where is that shed supposed to be at?
You keep
I
notes.
really should- I mean, I don't know. I thought it should
Well,
be
yeah.
shown where
Yeah.
you're planning to put it.
Okay.
Yeah, and then if
It
you're
looked like
the
there's
petitioner,
plenty of space
you
in
have
the yard to put it and meet 10 feet.
Without.
So you have the
You
notes.
don't have to be sworn in.
But
Can
I
you just
couldn't
shoot me
see
your
where
history?
it was.
But you have to
Well, that's
also
all.
understand it.
Okay.
Oh,
sorry.
no.
Tomorrow.
You're right, there's no drawing now.
This is a shed already.
Right.
Just take a copy of all the motions as well.
Okay.
So we can
Yeah.
basically, we can probably fill most of it out with the notes that we get.
Yes.
Okay, so if we did that presentation,
I was on there.
I just got lost with all the meeting.
We have to.
I was told that.
You had it disabled because of
because
that
I
one
couldn't
incident.
see where.
I was on the last week. I think they disabled the share. I can't share it. Maybe. I don't know if you got about it.
Zach, the IT guy doing that was. He's sort of.
This is the copy of the unified development ordinance and the comprehensive plan. They're the same sheet for each petition. They just printed them for each one, but
I guess it could be
we
worse.
scan them into our records, so they even sign them.
It was.
Do one time.
So the one we're getting ready to do is on a existing concrete pad.
That's I had.
Yeah, I was wondering where the heck we got the other one. Met everywhere.
They solitaire team.
And they didn't have to make
Place
10
is solitaire
feet.
team.
Yeah. Still they can put it everywhere they want. Yeah, this is essentially running more than one.
Well, Sam, I can delete my email to Terry asking for these. Okay, there we go.
Okay, it's been 5 minutes.
Yes, that's good.
Let's resume. I will recommend that we continue this to the next meeting where we have availability. Unless you tell me that's like a year out.
So, yeah, the next one with availability would likely be in about 2 months from now. We can check our calendar unless we wanted to exceed the limit of 3 per meeting to have a 4th edition on it.
How many do we
How
have?
many waiver requests are each of those?
I think
petitions?
most meetings are filled with 3 already out until March, I believe, and I'll check our. notes right here.
3 petitions doesn't mean how many waiver requests.
Yeah, like how
If
many?
some of them are 3,
Oh.
4, 5, or 14.
One's one,
Yeah.
they're gonna
Now,
go
how
through.
many are we talking about as far as waiver requests? Because they only have 1 waiver request on each, that's not a problem.
Let me pull up my notes quick.
Or if there's one with 3 of these that are just a quick separate.
Yeah, it all depends. I don't think it's the same as 3 petitions is good.
Understood. Oh, sometimes I.
I should-
The Eagles kind of defense down.
Well, Kansas City
Sign the minutes.
and Chicago, and Philadelphia, they've been my 2 favorites. The Easterns, I mean, realistically, unless Kelsey catches the ball, a couple of other guys, they don't really have a runner.
So they,
I mean,
it's clear that Philadelphia did their video
oh,
research.
yeah.
Just the way
Those
he
blitzes they have.
plays, you know,
They were saying on Fox News that remember Trump came in the first time, Philadelphia won, some came in this time, he won.
And well, and both times he picked the opponent. So.
Yeah, I would recommend having it on February 24th. We have a setback variance, which you have seen before, that actually withdrew and now is back. Once again, they've figured out their parking agreement. We have a use variance and a dimensional variance, but if the use variance is denied, they would withdraw any related variances to that petition. And that's the 3, with the setback, the use, and the dimensional. And if the
Two of them are the
use,
same.
2 are with this, they're different petitions, because one's a use and one's
You mentioned.
dimensional. But if the use was denied, it's very likely that the dimensional would go away. So I would recommend that meeting.
That seems fair. Continue BZA 2024-061 to February 24th. So a motion by Mr. Mull, second by Mr. Peters. All those in favor, raise a hand. All opposed, same sign. That motion carries 5-0. Any new business from the floor? Seeing none, any announcements?
No analysis.
In that case, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
We are adjourned. You can stop.